Hello and welcome to the Porcelain Don channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing book 2 of the Farseer trilogy and book 2 of the Realm of the Elderling series. Both the same book, obviously. Of course, I'm talking about Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb. Now, those of you who subscribe to my channel and watch my videos know that I reviewed the first one a couple of weeks ago, and I really enjoyed it. I thought the prose was excellent. I thought the story was excellent. I liked the way it was paced from the mounting build up to the end. I thought it was really enjoyable. I thought Hobb did a good job. For a fantasy book, I thought it was really, really good. Not that I don't like fantasy, I just find that sometimes the bar is quite low. Anyway, that's just me. So in this book, it's more of the same. It's more of the same. The second in the setting, it's the same setting. It's more or less the same characters. The plot picks up from where the first book ends, with Fitz slightly more cemented in his position. Still not comfortable, feet under the table, wholly confident in his survival, if you will, but more he's more found his role. You know, he has his supporters, he has his enemies, but he seems more comfortable with his position, with what he's supposed to do, what he isn't supposed to do. Again, sometimes he sort of rails against that in the sense that he does what he knows he shouldn't, but feels he should. You know, sort of contradictory as most protagonists do. Most humans do, in fact. But yeah, that's how it goes for maybe the first half, but then events transpire that obviously mean that things become more precarious for Fitz. He has to deal with more jeopardy in in Buckkeep Castle, which is where it's mostly set, and his position comes under threat, and his life comes under threat, and by the end, his life comes very much under threat. It gets quite brutal towards the end. It gets not off-puttingly so, but Fitz does have a rough time. He does. I mean, it doesn't go great for him in the first one, but it goes really quite bad for him in the second one. Um, Spoiler alert, sorry if you're reading this for a non-spoiler review, I kind of messed up there. The prose is excellent. You know, it's not the best prose I've read in fantasy, but it's up there. It's really, really good. It's really enjoyable. Pacing again, excellent. It's sort of the way it starts, the way it builds, the way it crescendos and sort of carries you through without losing interest, despite the sort of density of the prose, makes it, you know, really, really good, really well written. Again, Hobb, she's sort of a master of her craft. I enjoy the characters. I enjoyed Verity, Shrewd, Fitz, obviously. Chade is one of my favorites. Burridge, great character. Also well written. None of them are sort of over the. Regal is maybe a little bit too over the top, but the rest of them are very well written, very realistic. Um, yeah, Hobb is great at character work, I think. Even though they don't, at least thus far, they don't. No, that would be fair. I was going to say they don't evolve, but they do. They do. That would have been unfair. They do evolve. Um, so yeah, overall, I think this book is better than the first book. It's more enjoyable than the first book, but small margins because the first book was very good and this is slightly better. It's also helped by being a second book, not just because of the repetition and the experience, but because generally the first book you need to do a lot of exposition. You need to build the setting, you need to build the characters, you need to build the risk and the situation. In the second book, you can sort of just you're a bit more free with what you do. Obviously, you have to tell a story and you have to continue and you have to build the characters also, but most of the heavy lifting was done in the first book. Most of the scene setting, everything, and the stakes and everything like that was set in the first book. So the second book, you have a bit more liberty to just indulge in spectacle or indulge in the story itself, which gives you a bit more creative license, and it makes your path a little bit easier when writing a second book, I think, as somebody who's never written a book. So take my opinion for what it's worth. Anyway, it was really enjoyable, and I would probably say I'd recommend it definitely to other fantasy fans. Obviously, you have to read the first one, and if you like the first one, it's kind of more of the same. So read the second one. If you didn't like the first one, you probably won't like the second one. But I will be reading the third one at some point, and I will be reviewing it. Anyway, I hope you liked this review. Please like and subscribe down below, and also let me know if you read this book, what you thought of it, what you thought of it compared to the first one, what you thought of it compared to the third one. No spoilers, please, because I will be reading it. And also, if you have any other recommendations, please let me know, and I will try to get round to them. Okay, have a good day. Bye bye.